I just fucking shot myself. Oh, son of a bitch!
So, this is the kind of ammo it shoots. 12 gauge. This is a 12 gauge bird shot. And, yeah, so this weapon has only a bottom loading feed. I don't know if you can see that. So, you know how most guns, like the Mossberg 500, they have a side breaching thing? Yeah, this one only has it from the bottom. So, as you can see. And I think they did this in World War II because there was a lot of dust and mud and stuff. So, they kind of did this so it's kind of more closed and, you know, it increases reliability. Also, this weapon has this cool feature where you press the trigger down, you can, and once you press it and blow it up.
All right, let's get it started. As funny as that video may have been, I'm sure that guy had to go to the hospital, and the second gentleman, I use that term loosely, gentleman, either has some repairs or perhaps laundry to do, not to mention the embarrassment of being part of a fail video. I would like to convince you that the need for basic firearms knowledge is essential and can one day save your life. Fundamental knowledge in firearm safety can prevent accidental shootings such as the one shown in the video, where an improper draw caused the shooter to discharge his weapon into his own leg. A similar situation happened in a Manhattan nightclub in 2008. Now, this is a quote from ESPN.com. New York Giants receiver Plaxico Burress has told the team that he accidentally shot himself Friday night. A league official told an ESPN affiliate that the bullet went through the skin and muscle tissue of Burress's right thigh. And maybe if that weapon was holstered or maybe not illegally carried into a New York nightclub, he wouldn't have been shot. As a statement of credibility, I actually have a personal story of a family member of mine. Won't get specific with it, but they went hunting when they were way younger, pheasant hunting, with a couple of other dads when they were young. And one of the kids, I believe, didn't check his field of view, didn't check behind his target, and he ended up firing at movement in the woods and injured, and I believe he killed someone with his shotgun there. So, little basic rules and a little more enforcement probably could have prevented that. Now, there are a few basic rules to handling a firearm of any type. First, always assume the weapon is loaded, and you're going to never, ever trust a safety mechanism on your weapon. Also, keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction, and always have the weapon away from unauthorized personnel. The list goes on and on. But the main idea is to learn the mechanics of your weapon of choice, and learn them well. Now, the National Shooting Sports Foundation is quoted saying, "Do not be timid with gun safety." If you see anyone violating any safety precautions, you have an obligation to insist on safe handling practices. Any recreational shooter can tell you the basic rules of operating a firearm. I'm not technically qualified or certified to teach you those rules. I don't have any certs like that. I'm just a hobby shooter myself. I'm here to insist that you go out of your way to learn proper safety and use of basic firearms. Now, these rules and safety practices should be learned by all, including those of you who never wish to own or operate a firearm, especially those of you who never wish to own or operate a firearm, not a fire alarm, a firearm. I understand that guns can be a hot button issue in politics. Generally, it's a pretty polarizing subject. That's why I chose it. It was in the news a lot recently, especially with that mass shooter at the gym in Miramar, Coral Gables, I think it was. Some personal trainer ended up shooting 2 people and then himself. It's sad stuff, but I think little pieces of knowledge like this can help you along the way. I'm here to argue not for gun control or not against gun control. I'm actually here to argue for gun safety. And as the saying goes, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. According to the Washington Post, there are now more guns in the United States than there are people. These numbers include legally acquired and registered weapons and include an estimate of illegal and unregistered weapons, meaning the number they have of legally registered weapons is higher than legally registered citizens in the United States. Scary stuff. Most of these weapons are owned by responsible hobby shooters and hunters, however. A bit of practical knowledge and a think first, shoot second attitude could have saved the shooter in the video from earlier. The same could have been said for the dad who took the kids hunting. Basic firearm safety and use, if taught properly, can lead to confidence in use and respect for the tool that is a firearm. I'm not going to give you some statistics about accidental... I am going to give you some statistics about accidental firearm-related deaths that may lean you towards learning about gun safety. According to the New Yorkers Against Gun Violence, in 2010, unintentional firearm shootings caused the deaths of 606 people. Another quote from them was 33% of households contain a gun, and half of those gun-owning households do not lock up their guns. 40% of those households that do not lock their guns have kids under the age of 18 living in the house. Also, according to New Yorkers Against Gun Violence, the U.S. General Accounting Office has estimated that 31% of unintentional deaths caused by firearms might have been prevented by the addition of two devices, a child-proof safety lock and a loading indicator. For those of us who are already familiar with firearms, brush up on the basics, learn safety, learn operation of your selected firearm. For anyone who has absolutely no experience with firearms, I urge you to drive over to Gun World off of Powerline Road in Deerfield Beach and take a basic course. I think that type of knowledge is useful for anyone, really. You don't need to be a shooter. It's just for your own safety. Who knows, you may even discover a new talent or hobby. Learning and developing the skills used in target shooting can be exhilarating and competitive. Some people compare it to getting a tattoo. Once you get one, you're hooked. And if none of that, it will teach you to respect firearms and have a clear understanding of how to safely handle one. Alright? Thanks, guys, and I hope to see some of your videos in the future. Alright, cutting it off.